Welcome, everyone, to another edition of Stepping Up to the Plate. So glad you could join us. I'm your host, Michael Vega, and so much to discuss today with my main man, Al Prizzuti. He joins me here on the dais. We're underway now with the baseball season. Sox, again, kind of up to a bit of a rocky start. They've made some news with the signing of Garrett Crochet, the guy they traded for, the big lefty, 6 years, $170 million. I would advocate for that, but Al is of a differing opinion.
I would never sign him for 6 years. First of all, he was a relief pitcher.
Okay.
And we bring him in. He had an average with the lousy average team, had an average year last year. So I would have said, let's see what he does this year, and then.
And then wait to make
maybe
the deal?
3 year pitches.
Do you think the Red Sox have a tendency to overpay?
I think they have a tendency to overpay for players that are just either marginal, they're not superstars. I mean,
or do you think they have a tendency to overpay pitchers they get from the White Sox, i.e. Chris Sale?
Chris Sale, Giolito. There's a lot of them. I think talking about the Bruins just a little, in that they overestimated their talent. So when the superstars left, the Bergerons and the Krejcis and stuff like that, and then they bring in Elias Lindholm and Zadora, but there's nothing there.
We'll get to them, but I want to ask you though, do you not see the prospect that this guy brings?
No.
He's 25 years old.
No.
He's making a significant change. He's done well. He pitched 150 some odd innings already as a starter.
He's a strikeout pitcher.
He's a strikeout pitcher. He's a guy who gets outs. He's a guy that makes people swing and miss. So let me ask you a question.
Strikeout pitcher. Okay. Why wouldn't you keep him in the bullpen?
Because you need a starter, Al.
Well, because they needed a starter.
They sure do. They sure do.
You know what?
I think they got another one in Walker Buehler.
Well, he's hittable.
Well, but I mean, but you know what? He pitched very well in the postseason too, Al. And so I mean, these are guys. Get him into the mix. The guy right now I'm concerned about, really deeply concerned about, is Rafael Devers, and I think he is like going through a real tough time adapting to just DH.
I don't think that's
and
it.
I think I think he feels like it adds more pressure to the guy, because now, with this big contract that he signed, he's got to deliver every at bat.
No, it didn't bother. It didn't
I
bother.
think you know what it is. It's analysis by paralysis.
No, the two things. One, his bat speed has dropped significantly.
Yeah.
If you look at it, his bat speed's gone down 2%, 2 degrees.
Well, you know what? He never took swings that many. He didn't take very many at bats in the spring.
15.
And he didn't take very many swings during the offseason, recuperating from his shoulder.
And he's overweight.
So Al, technically speaking, this first 3 weeks are going to be his spring training.
Yeah, but not 15 strikeouts and 19 at bats.
Well, he's swinging, man. He's trying to do something. But again, he's inside his own head right now, and you can see that, Al, when he got up to at bat and he drew a walk there at Texas. And, he's tapping his head. He's talking to himself.
Well,
and then he gets on base, and you see, just this, he exhales in relief because, he's on base. He didn't strike out. And right now, he's on a historic pace, or he's had the worst start.
He already did.
He's already made history. 15 strikeouts, 0 for 19 right now. And you would think that he would have left it behind in Texas, but it followed him to Baltimore.
Well, what you're going to see if he continues like this is that he's only going to be up against right-handers and not lefties.
But you know who went through a similar stretch at DH at the beginning of his Red Sox career? David Ortiz.
Yeah, but David Ortiz is a little different type of. David Ortiz had a traditional batting stance, for one. Devers does not.
Yeah.
Devers is actually wide open.
It's kind of like wide open. Yeah, I see that.
And he's got his leg. I mean, if I was a catcher, I would say to the umpire, watch his foot. He might be outside the
box.
Outside the box. 1. 2, he's overweight. 3, he's not a good defensive player. And you give him 11 years?
Yeah. $300 million max contract.
I mean, he'll be 290 pounds. in 5 years.
He'll be Panda.
You know what? I just think I feel bad because he seems like a nice kid, and he's given the Red Sox 2 or 3 or 4 good years. I think they overpaid him.
He just needs to remember who he is and how he would make contact and swing the bat.
I mean, but you see, what happens with it is it's almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy. He struck out 15 times in 19 at-bats. He gets up today. I think they're playing again today in Baltimore.
Yeah.
Every time he's up now and there's a pitch, he's going, if this isn't a fastball and I'm ahead of it and I swing and miss, oh, geez, now I'm 0-2.
He's thinking. He's not reacting.
Yeah, well, I saw the stats. He's not only his bat speed has gone down from last year, but 2 years ago. So the guy that was the better player 2 years ago isn't there. Nobody's going to take him. He's got a huge deal.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this is something that's not just been, I guess, indicative or systemic to him. I mean, it's been, it seems like the top of the lineup has also been struggling.
I mean, you look at Duran and you look at Bregman. I mean, you can say what you want. All 3 of those guys, Devers, Duran, and Bregman, haven't hit a home run yet. Bregman hasn't hit in the clutch. But, I give him credit because he's going to save runs at third base. Plus, it's only 4 games for him.
Right.
Not striking out 15 and 19 at bats. He's making contact and he's got hits.
Oh, he's driven the ball deep.
Yeah. I would worry about Story. I would get rid of Casas if I was a Red Sox guy.
Yeah.
I think that Abreu could be gone if he continues to hit because they want Roman Anthony in the outfield. I think you could trade Story because you got Meyer. They got a lot of young talent.
Yeah, and one of them they rolled the dice and made the bet on Christian Campbell to be the second baseman. I think that was forward thinking, Al. And I think that we're by sending Anthony and Marcelo Mayer back, it was just for the short term, and I think
maybe
they probably will make room for these guys either via a trade or whether someone goes down.
Yeah.
They'll probably be the guys that get called up first. But I would be reluctant, Al, and I would dissent on any trade involving Abreu for this reason. He's giving you production right now.
Oh, well,
and yes, he's valuable,
and
he might bring someone back. But yeah, and on the one hand, while I disagree with you, I agree with you that they do have the depth to make that move.
Well, Abreu,
but I mean, here's the thing that I would hold out on. What does Wilyer Abreu bring you? And are you going to have to sweeten the pot by including a prospect going the other way?
No.
Because that's a deal breaker.
Abreu brings you a lot of things because 1, he's 25 years old. 2, he's a pretty good outfielder. 3, he's a cut above like a Verdugo. Verdugo could hit. He's just a cut above because he's a little better outfielder. He's a little better contact
Great power
hitter.
stroke. Great power stroke.
You know what?
This guy
Roman
has a power
Anthony
stroke.
is their guy. And if he sits down in Pawtucket, this team, down in Worcesterville, then you got a problem. The Red
we
Sox,
have to get to it, by the way.
At the end of the day, the problem with the Red Sox is pitching.
Yeah. We need to maybe go do a show down in Worcester at the Worcester Red Sox. We'll try and sell that to the guys.
Well, maybe
here.
we'll see Devers down there. Yeah.
On rehab assignment, perhaps.
Now, the other thing is the torpedo bats. The Yankees are hitting home runs. They hit 9 home runs in one game.
Yeah. Controversy, Al. I don't know. Are these cheater bats?
Well, Bregman says I'm going to probably
Okay,
use
if they
it.
can be used.
They'll all use it if now. I watched the reasoning because if you look at the shape of the bat, it is a little different.
Yeah.
And it allows you to hit off center without turning the bat, which allows the ball to fly out. So it's really a scientific approach that this kid put in who developed it. And you know what? Baseball's got to turn around and say, well, if it means that we're going to hit 150 more home runs,
Then
maybe we should say, no, you can't use that bat. It's kind of like a baseball, with the stitch
then
in
you
the
allow
tight.
the pitchers to lube up the ball.
Well, it's more like the ball itself and the bat. Those are implements.
Right.
So you got a bat and a ball. So if you tighten the seams on the pitch, it makes it easier. It makes the ball go further.
Well, 9 home runs.
In one game.
3 on 3 first pitches out.
Where was it though?
Well,
Where? What park?
Well, of course.
Yeah, well, I could hit 6 in Yankee Stadium.
Using the torpedo bat.
Well,
or an
with the
aluminum
torpedo,
bat.
I might. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's like unbelievable. And no one ever saw that during spring training or took note of that?
No, I think
said,
they did. I think they did.
Oh, they never played the Yankees in spring training.
No, they did. Sox did.
Okay, well.
They played in one game, but I mean.
The Yankees must have kept that bat holstered,
The Yankees, it's an interesting thing because the Yankees pitching is so-so, but if you score 7, 8, 9 runs,
Yeah.
you're going to win.
Yeah, of course.
That's Buck Showalter used to say the same thing. Give me the home run.
Yeah.
You can have the singles and doubles and
Yeah, I'll take the home runs of 2-run homers, 3-run
three-run
homers.
homer.
And then you're winning your opening day at home by
So
20. You're putting up a 20 spot,
So let's say Brian Bello comes back and he's not everything that they thought he was, and he's a 2, let's say, or a 3, okay? I believe Crochet as your ace, so-so. I mean, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Bueller is a 2 or 3.
Okay.
So if
Tanner
Bello
Houck.
is either a 2 or 3, then who?
Tanner Houck.
Tanner Houck can give up 9, 10 runs in one game. He's another one
Brian
if his
Bello.
ball doesn't come in.
Brian Bello.
I haven't seen enough of him. One season. That's the problem with the Red Sox.
Who's your 5 right now?
Bello. If he comes back, you don't know what he's going to do.
Okay, who's your
that
3?
other kid there?
Who's your 3?
Well, Tanner Houck. You got Houck. You got Crochet. You got Bueller. You've got the kid that pitched the other
Sean
day.
Newcomb?
No, you're not going to make it.
No.
You're not going to make it. A lefty. Guys are hitting them left and right.
How about bringing Garrett Whitlock back?
Well, maybe. That
Into
could
the
happen.
rotation.
And, don't forget, Houck was in the All-Star game last year.
Yeah. So was Jaron
He's
Durant.
got a sweep, but if guys stay away from that and they call that a ball and he walks batters and gives up 5 hits in a row,
Yeah.
it's hard to play from behind every game.
Oh, no doubt. Especially nowadays with people, wielding torpedo bats.
Well, that's Joe Sacco
Damn
how
the
it
torpedoes
feels to be behind every game.
I can already see the headline in the New York Post, "Damn the torpedoes."
Yeah.
No, but it's been an interesting baseball season so far, right out the gate, and there'll be more drama to come, no doubt. But
Aaron Judge with the Yankees is off to the biggest start in terms of run production and runs scored since Lou Gehrig.
wow,
So
he's
that
on
kid's
a
a
historic
monster.
run.
He's a
on
monster.
Oh yeah, he's unbelievable.
Imagine him in Fenway.
Oh, pop-ups would be gone.
No.
Well, we'll hope to see Bregman maybe get his first one at Fenway.
Crochet pitching today.
Yeah, I think he is. He's
And then
going.
you'd have Walker Bueller tomorrow.
Correct.
And then they open up against the Cardinals on Friday.
Tanner Houck. Oh boy. Oh
Well,
boy.
I look at Tanner Houck. If the guys go after that sweep that's on the outside part of the plate, he's got an opportunity. He can pitch a good game.
Yeah.
But he's clearly not an ace. I mean,
No,
in my
no,
opinion.
Al.
And neither is Walker Bueller. Well, Walker Bueller, in my opinion, reminds me of the kid that the Sox had Hernandez that they sent back to the Dodgers. If you look at his career stats, they were average. What he did was he hit in the playoffs.
Are you talking Kiki Hernandez?
Kiki.
Yeah.
He hit in the playoffs.
Oh yeah.
He won games for the Dodgers in the playoffs.
He
Then
won
they
games
let
for
him
the
go.
Red
The Red Sox got
He won
him.
games for the Red Sox too.
He won games, but he's that type of guy. He doesn't hit, and you need him in a clutch situation. He does it. He goes out to the Dodgers. He's doing the same thing again.
Yeah.
That's Walker Bueller. Doesn't do anything during the season, and he wins in the playoffs. But the Red Sox won't make the playoffs, so you don't need him.
Well, I'll tell you a team that's going to make the playoffs. That's going to be the Celtics, Al. Celtics are coming back home after a tremendous 6-0 road trip, historic road trip. They're 32-7, I believe, on the road now, Al, and 24-12 at home. 7 games left. They're the number 2 seed.
Well, they don't have any
I don't know if they have a
weaknesses.
chance to get to the number 1 at this point. Cleveland has got 60 wins. The Celtics have 56 with 7 games remaining, and so it's going to be. I
Well, they
think,
don't
a
have any
tough-
weaknesses. I mean, if they win, it's an expectation. Everybody believes they're going to win or
Right.
come close to winning. If they lose, they'll go, Cleveland pretty good, Oklahoma pretty good. There are some teams that are
Good.
competitive.
But you're not going to see Oklahoma unless you make the finals.
Yeah.
Cleveland, you're going to definitely see them in the probably Eastern Conference Finals.
Yeah.
But you know what? Here's the thing: if they're good on the road, that means they could steal a couple games in a 7-game series where Cleveland has home
If
court.
I was a gambler, I'd put money on them. I mean, they just
On the Celtics?
Yeah.
Yeah, no
if I
doubt.
was a
No
but-
doubt, Al. I mean, and they've done it with using different machinations of their lineup. And Joe Mazzulla has been brilliant in kind of navigating, injuries and guys who need rest. I.e. Al Horford, dealing with Kristaps Porzingis injuries. You had recently Jason Tatum gave everybody a scare when he rolled his ankle and he came back a couple
Brown,
days later.
too.
And now you got Brown. Brown, I think they're giving him some load management, and I think his knee is bothering him. So no one's going to be 100% out going into the playoffs.
Yeah, so I mean, as I said, if I was a gambler and they were playing Cleveland or Oklahoma at any point, I'd put a freeze on my bank account because they could lose.
They could lose. But, the thing is that I think they're better constructed than any team right now to win.
Deeper.
Yes.
They
And
do.
they're
I
getting
mean,
production from
Peyton
everybody.
Pritchard would be a starter on any team.
Luke Cornett.
I don't know if he'd be a starter,
Luke
but he'd
Cornett
be a
would.
definite.
I think Luke Cornett,
Yeah,
he's really come along, man. I tell you what,
Well, Hauser.
Hauser, come on now.
I know.
Unbelievable hustle by that guy.
Oh, yeah.
Every time he's
That's
on the
why I'm
court,
saying
he makes a great hustle play.
They're deep.
Tommy Heinsohn would be giving that guy Tommy points every game, because of the way he hustles. And then of course you got Derek White and Drew Holiday. Those guys are unbelievable as well. And we haven't even begun to talk about Jason Tatum and what he means to this team.
No, he's the
He's
cornerstone.
unbelievable.
He's actually the cornerstone of this
Yeah.
team
Oh, no doubt.
because he does
But
everything.
here's the thing I don't want to see him do anymore. Just don't complain to the refs about, you do your business. If you get a call, bonus. If you don't go crying. Because the more you complain, the less likely they are to give you the benefit
the
of the
league
doubt.
the league could police that a little better, just like the NFL years ago when guys would go crazy, trailing 49-0, they score a touchdown and they overreact and all that stuff. And you know what? The league should say, look, that's enough.
Yeah.
Entertainment. If it's entertainment, we'll bring in a clown.
Yeah.
But
No, I mean, they do. The refs have to do a better job too, Al, because there's stuff that doesn't get called, that gets called on the other side. So there's the inequity of that.
So what did you think of this? So before we get off of baseball, what do you think of the balls and strikes being called it was
during spring training?
preseason? Yeah, it was done last year in the minors, but I'm against that.
I like
mean,
that, Al.
I don't.
I mean,
the pitcher
you
can
have a
call it,
tendency
the
to
catcher
prolong
can
a
call
game.
it, and the batter can call it.
Call
All
it.
three.
Correct.
I mean, Jesus, if it comes down to that, so here's my question: is if the catcher calls it, all right, and then they test it, how many times can he do that? He can do it 100 times.
No, I think you got to limit it. You
Well,
got to limit
yeah,
it.
but
It's just like in the
But
NBA.
then the pitcher takes
NBA,
over.
a coach can call for a review,
Yeah.
and if they lose,
But there is nothing that I've
if they don't
read.
get the call overturned, right, then they lose a
Well,
timeout.
the best way to do
So
it is
that's
like
the
the
other thing. I mean,
NHL.
what do
There's
you?
a penalty, if you
how do you
call-
penalize? Do you penalize the batter in the batter's box?
No, so all I'm saying is if it's the catcher and he only gets 1 or 2 or 3 called things, then you go to the pitcher, put your thumb up like
Now,
this, he calls it.
What if it's this? You got to weigh and measure the situation too. What if it's the last batter, the World Series? You're the home team. You got bases loaded. A walk draws you even. In that instance, yeah, you want to make sure, and the ball is clearly out of the strike zone.
So here's the deal.
And the batter gets called out.
Here's my only question on that. Get rid of the umpires. If you want to do that, on the Yogi Berra, Jackie Robinson play at home plate, all right, there's a case where you should have had, you could have had a replay.
I saw a really interesting documentary on ESPN, and it was about the kid Galarraga from Detroit.
Pitched a no-hitter.
Perfect game out.
Yeah,
he pitched a perfect game.
And he got the guy at first base.
And Jim Joyce was the umpire at first base. Galarraga comes up, and it's the last out, Al. This is for the perfect game. He runs up, and he covers first. They throw it to him. He catches the ball before the guy touches the bag. And it's irrefutable if you had video replay, but you didn't. And so Jim Joyce makes the safe call, and there goes this guy's perfect game.
That's a little different than balls and strikes, in my opinion.
But yes, it is. But now you have video replay. They fixed that by deciding in a unanimous vote we need video replay.
So why not have?
So why can't you have that to fix an egregious?
Have instantaneous and get rid of all the umpires.
No, Al. You need umpires still in the game.
For what?
You need them to. They make the initial call, and then
you overturn it.
But you know what? They're fallible, and that's what that proves.
So if the video is not infallible, get rid of the umpires.
And you know the NFL starting to do that too, with the chain gangs. Just recently, they're going to be going to video now to establish
where you mark the ball, all that
the line
stuff.
to gain, and where to mark that. Yeah,
I think it's become so. It's too much on balls and strikes, in my opinion. But that's
well, I mean, but if it's out of the zone now, it's clearly out of the zone.
Oh.
You got to have some retread.
We see it on TV. It's different from where the umpire sees it, you know. And I mean, look at Mike Maddox. Every pitch that Mike Maddox thrown could be challenged.
Oh yeah.
Because he was
painting
always
the time.
painting.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if he
then you got
because he knew if he threw anywhere
you
inside
got
the strike
baseball
zone,
complaining
it's out.
about games are too long. And now if you go to technology here on everything, they'll end up 5 hours.
Well, no, they're going to take it out of the pitcher's hide because they're going to speed them up even more.
Anyways.
But
the NHL
at any
does
rate,
it best if you challenge and you get it wrong, 2 minutes.
And the other exciting thing here has been the NCAA Frozen Four and the Final Fours, both men's and women's. Al, we're going to have BU, the only Hockey East representative in the Frozen Four in St. Louis.
Yeah, who's the coach of BU?
Don't know him. Never heard of him.
Never heard of him.
Jay Pandolfo.
Pandolfo.
Yeah.
Incidentally, just on that aside, how many games in a row have St. Louis won? Blues. 9 in a row.
Wow.
So they are now the number one wild card. When they hired him,
they were out of the mix.
They were out of it. Now that the Bruins were in it when he was here, now they're out of it.
Oh, you know what? Monty would have loved it had Maine won. If Maine had won, but they got knocked out in the Allentown Regional against Penn State. Penn State winds up going on to win. They beat UConn, and I think
somebody from the Globe wrote that Montgomery and
Cassidy.
No, Montgomery and the general manager Sweeney.
Yeah.
Had a falling out. The reason why he lost the job.
Okay.
I think it might have been McBride.
Oh, that might have been the case then.
Might have been. Now I don't know if that's true or not, but when I look at
maybe it was because Monty went to Sweeney and said, "Hey, do your effing job and get me some players."
I just want to look at a game like I watch the college hockey games. I want to see a competitive game.
Yeah.
And watching the Bruins now, you don't see a competitive game. You know that when they make a mistake, the other team's gonna score. You actually know that.
Yeah.
You know, when it's going around and around, and the team is in the zone for 3 minutes, 2 minutes, 1.5 minutes. Can't get it out. Bingo.
I so that's why I kind of so enjoyed watching college hockey.
Right.
Because I mean they were Boston College had a wealth of talent, and they were buzzing the net. And this kid from Denver, Matt Davis, who was unbelievable in net for the Pioneers, and now they're on their way back to the Frozen Four where they're going to try and defend. And the team they beat last year was Boston College. Remember that? And they had like an unbelievable lineup.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. Greg Brown was like rolling these lines like crazy there at the end, and and now one of the kids is one of his main scorers, his top scorer, Ryan Leonard, made his debut against the Bruins playing for the Caps.
Yeah.
So that was special for him. But in the NCAA Frozen Four is in St. Louis. Now we look at the women's side in the basketball. UConn Huskies will be back. They'll be with going up against I think Texas, and who else is in that? Duke, I believe, made it.
Yeah.
No, South Carolina. It's going to be Texas, South Carolina to play, and then Duke is going to be playing. I forget who the fourth team was. God, oh my God!
On the
senior
women's
moment.
side?
Huh? Yeah.
UConn.
UConn is going to be playing. It's Texas, South Carolina,
Yeah. Duke
UConn, and
No?
Duke.
Yeah.
Duke and UConn. Okay. But and then Duke men is on the side on the men's side with kid Cooper Flagg from Maine. They're going to play Houston, and on the other side it's going to be an all SEC affair between Florida and Auburn. And Houston is going to have a huge advantage because the Final Four this year is in San Antonio, which is one of the best places, to have a Final Four. I think it's unbelievable. I really enjoyed covering it because that meant me getting a chance to go back home to Texas, and that's some good Mexican food down there. But it's really good. And then of course, Al, who do you like right now in the men's side? I'll give you a pick.
I think BU.
BU in the Frozen. What about the Final Fours?
That's a tough one.
I'll take Texas on the women's side.
I know you would.
Of course,
So-
I know I am. Come on, ladies. And then men's side, I'm gonna go Houston. I'm gonna stay Texas all the way.
All right, I'll go UConn and
UConn women,
Yeah, BU.
BU. But what about in the men's basketball? Are you gonna go with Duke and Cooper Flagg, the kid from Maine? Do you think he can take them all the way?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I'll take Duke. Yeah, I'd take Duke, I think.
Okay. Well, that's going to be interesting to watch this weekend. A lot going on, so we hope to see you back here next week. We'll check up and see how we did. All righty, everyone. That's going to do it for us this week. I want to thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you here next time on Stepping Up to the Plate. Take care.